anniversary Caribbean Folklore Storytime from Ubuntu.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I am Lena Rouge Noel. I'm from the beautiful Spice Island of Grenada. I was born in a part of the island called Munich. It's in the St. Andrew district, in the St. Andrew region. Now, my parents, well, that village, if you wish to know, is said to have been one of the first villages established by the free slaves. Yes. So, and all of my parents, grand and well, great grand, everybody that that's part of my family tree belong to that village. So it's not, I'm not an outsider to St. Andrew. But however, I lived in St. George's and I work at St. George's as a teacher, but now I live in St. David. So I am an all-rounder. I am on the moving end. Now, my encounter with folklore, now I belong to an extended family. And when I tell you about extended, think of extended. Now, when we had to cook, think of the size of pot we cook, could something like a 5-gallon pot, because there were plenty people. The amount of enamel plates and plastic plates and calabashes we use. So one was like you had to start learning to cook since the age of 6, because everybody has this or two. But folklore in that family was a rich thing. So everybody would do what he or she had to do quickly, because after it gets dark or as it begins to get dark, everybody had to get near the fireside. If we cook late, it took place around the fireside. If we cook early, near where on top somebody's bed, because the beds were made on the floor, right? There were so many people and one bed. Imagine everybody can sleep on that one bed. So somebody had to sleep under. Some people had to sleep on the side of the table in that one little one room house. The dining table became on the bed. People were sleeping under the table, under chairs, because everything is in one place. So in the evening, when we prepared for story time, it was about singing, it was about playing games, it was about, and we had a big wide stony yard. So we would maybe sometimes sit up on the stone, and there was a big bamboo stool at the back of the house, so you could imagine. So story started. And when they started to tell story, man, you should see, they said I had a very big eyes. Those eyes would open. Because it's like you're getting inside the story and you're into the story. And when they start to tell you the story, now imagine they're telling you about bamboo and ligaroo and larger bless and we have a bamboo stool right at the back of the house. So you start to see, you actually see in the larger bless behind the house when you wake up at night and the house is dark. You're afraid to look through the window. You're seeing those things. They came alive in your mind. Yes, so my aunt was the queen of that. So every night you'll have one. But there were times when the adults would not be responsible for telling the story. So they would tell you in advance, next week, Friday, you are responsible for telling story. What do you know more than the little thing that they tell you, what they tell you? So you had to create your own thing. And remember, after they told you a story, you saw a jumbie the night when you were going home. So that's your story right there. So you start to, everybody wants to hear from this person or that person. So we took it to school. There were times on Friday evening when everybody, the teacher we had, she was fond of those folklores. So she would say, we want children now. It is your turn, talent show. You can dance, you can sing. Okay, tell us a story. And boy, I used to tell stories because I actually used to see zombies.
How's the story going?
Very, 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 very good.
Yes, you enjoying it?
To the max.
Yes, we're going to show your stories again. We're going to tell them about the spirit and the little boy that wet his bed. Yes, I hear one time, I hear the little boy that wet his bed turned out to be a minister in Barbados, you know.
All right.
We go keep the secret. We go keep the secret. What do you have to say to the young people?
Any words for young people?
What do you? Tell them take a leaf from the old people's book and learn to tell stories.
Yes. Did you happen to hear Adrian Green's poem?
Yes, I heard it.
What you thought about it?
What should I say? It is very inspirational. And if people think about it, and if they know where they want to go in life, they will go after it.
Yes.
Never give up.
Yes. Thank you very much for spending the time with us. I thought this was your bedtime, you know.
It's you that kept me out of my bed.
we are so happy to have you. We are so happy to be graced with your presence.
I have to go and look for my nightie and put it on backwards. And if I don't go sleep in time, I will wake up in time because I might wet my bed.
Oh, shoot. We don't want that. We don't want that. You will handle that, man. You will handle that. You will handle that big time. We are so happy to have you, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Much love. We love you.
Thank you so much, Miss Alma. Thank you.
And thank you all of you. It's a beautiful night.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and show appreciation for 91 years. Unmute your mics and say thank you to Mrs. Alma Lucas from St. Philip, Barbados, past school principal, past school teacher.
Thank you. Yay. Brilliant.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. And listen, Mrs. Lucas, I hear a bunch of men saying that they want to interview you. They want to talk to you.
Men?
Men.
He said men?
Leslie Ann Monroe, originally from Port of Spain. Now I'm much, much further east. As a child, my first exposure to any kind of folklore came, I think, from my dad. He was a country boy from Point Fortin side. So he knew about those things. In Port of Spain, we didn't hear these stories really. So he would always wait until electricity went in a blackout. And I'm guessing that it was to add to the fear factor. Now, unlike Mrs. Noel, I am an only child. So there's nobody to run to and hide behind. It was me. So the first one I remember him talking about was Phantom, which is the very tall man who would straddle both sides of the road and you can't pass through his legs. Okay. And Laja Bless, well, I was obsessed with Laja Bless. I don't know why I love this woman with the cow foot so much, but something about this woman just being able to control these men as she wanted, I loved it, you know? And then I remember years later visiting the National Museum around the Queen's Park Savannah and just walking through looking at the paintings, and I saw one particular painting with every single folklore character in it. including Phantom, Laja Bless, Papa Bois, the Duens, things that I never even heard about, something that looked like a mermaid. I think that's the Lagahoo. And up to this day, I think that is still my favorite painting. So much so that if I take anybody to the museum, that's the first painting. Look, you will watch everything else after. We're going to see this one first. It has a very, very special place in my heart. And I encourage young people to, talk about these characters as much as they can, because the folklore it's going to be lost eventually if we don't keep talking about it. It's just such an interesting history. So that's my story.
Yo,
Do you have any Lugaroos in Barbados?
I don't know about them.
How about, have you ever heard about the Duppies, or did anybody tell you any Duppies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have the Duppies.
What do they do?
Must be suck your blood.
Duppies.
I don't know. I'm frightened little children.
Oh, okay.
I'm not an expert on it, so I am just a listener.
So where did you hear about the Duppies? Who told you about the Duppies?
Oh, that you would have grown up hearing that from your parents.
Oh, okay.
When they want to frighten you. They
Which
tell you about the
parents, your
Duppies.
mom or your dad?
Mostly mothers. Mothers are the ones who will give you more stories than that.
Oh, you haven't met Miss Monroe?
Oh, her father used to give.
Yeah.
Greetings from the Bahamas. I'm Heather Thompson, wishing you a happy anniversary. See you soon.
Lynette, I love that story. The sheets were just getting warm. And of course, it's a great pleasure to be here on your anniversary, a whole year of keeping this story time alive. It's been fabulous. It's been a real journey of expansion, and everything runs like clockwork these days. I remember in the early days. So it's wonderful to just see it growing and developing, and becoming a very valuable and fantastic platform. There aren't a lot of places for Caribbean writers to just meet up and talk and share our work and say that, yeah, we're here doing something. So I think it's been a very fabulous year for me, knowing you and taking part in the story times. So congratulations. Happy birthday to Storytime.
Well, thank you. But where can we find you?
You can find me at river-stories.com. That's my website.
And you have a book, right? You have a published author.
Oh, look, I do actually have a book.
Hold, let me find mine.
I have a book, which I'm always trying to sell, and it's on my website, and you can buy it. Look, Anne has one too. See? Anne supports the writers that she promotes. Yes. Jenny has the wire bend.
Okay. I'm a published author of 3 books, Brennancy and the Bread Duck, Brennancy and the Magic Pot, and Brennancy and the Easter Egg Hunt. And I can be found at brennancy.com. That's www.brennancy.com. or on all social media at I am Brian Nancy. And you can find CARICON at CARI-con.org. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish Caribbean freedom fighters and the storytelling movement happy anniversary. I came for the Anansi story, but stayed for the food that normally happens after each show. They like to tempt me with the mangoes and the guineps and the sweet sop and the sapadilla because I only happen to be in Los Angeles where I can't find them as if I'm on the island. And so when I want to, oh wow, when I want to reminisce about home, I normally come to the Storytellers Club here to experience and enjoy the fellowship of my fellow West Indians. So on behalf of me, Brian Nancy, and all of him friends, I just want to wish you happy anniversary. And remember that stories make the world go round. We gone.
Well, once or twice, leaving my aunt's house to go to my mother's house. In the first place, where I was from in Munich, we live on a hill called Rose Hill because most of the people of Munich live on hills. As I said, when the slaves established their villages, they went on the hills a lot to get away from the planters, right? And their dogs and whoever and what, okay? So where we lived on Rose Hill. Now, to get to Rose Hill, you had to cross a big pasture over a red hill, down the river, up, cross the river, go up the hill, go down again to another river. And then, now when you cross that river called the Breadfruit, as you get to the other side, there's that big silk cotton tree looking at you. Big, when I tell you big, and one big stone bearing it like the tomb of Jesus Christ on Mount, wherever he was buried. So behind that stone came all the stories. Under that silk cotton tree, behind that stone came all the stories. Now, when you leave, you have to pass in a little track to go to my home. On one side is a whole field of nutmeg, the silk cotton on one side. So you, a child getting from the river to home, you could imagine. And then in the evening, you would hear your father, my grandfather said, when he was coming up, he saw this little puppy following him. He met this little puppy in the pasture, what they used to say the playing field. He met this little puppy in the pasture, which started following him. But as the puppy followed him, when he get on top of the hill, he noticed like the puppy was growing. And as he coming up, when he reached where just before he come down the river by my next grandfather, he saw like a donkey. But he coming up and every time he stand up, the animal would stand up. But as he got close to the silk cotton tree by Birdfoot River, the donkey stood up under the silk cotton tree and it wouldn't go anywhere. So, but he ain't looking back and he ain't afraid because he has some rule in his pocket, whatever the rule was, because he was a carpenter. And it is said that and when you have this rule, the zombie would not follow you because the zombie knows that you measure the dead and it's really the spirit of dead people that's following you. So he will measure them. I didn't understand the explanation, but I took it and I was scared of it. So whenever I pass near the Breadfruit, I seen all the things they talk about in the story last evening. I used to see it. And it was so real to me that I will reach home almost speechless and sweating like a hard day's walk. You come from a hard day's walk. What happened to you? Nothing. Nothing happened to me, but I shame to tell them what I see or what wasn't there. You understand what I mean? So the Breadfruit experience came to St. George's, and in St. George's is where the big bamboo tree. Those of you who know Grenada, you know that road, you know the junction between, in Lamo Junction, you have two houses. They exposed to Lamo Road as well as Bolio Road. So right between there's that big bamboo stool, and the little house above it was ours. My God, you used to see and hear all kind of things in the road in the night. Not that it was there, no, I don't believe it was there, but how you say creative brain at work. Yes? So if you look out the window in the night, you dare, well, we didn't used to look out the window, but just by chance around the Christmas time, when they take down all the curtains, and they leave the house bare, when you get up in the night to go to pee or to do anything, you're walking low. Because when you look up, you're seeing like people moving in the air.
Remember as you're saying about the measuring a ruler, I think that's what you're talking about. That says that because he measures the carpenter, he has to measure the coffin, all of that stuff. And they used to tell you to walk with 3 stones in your pocket and you don't look back and all that stuff. So it's them same type of duppy story. But they always tell me the ones with the rolling calf and how the train rolling and you hear it coming down and woman duppy laugh and man duppy laugh this way, keng, keng, keng. It's all of those stuff. It just brings back those memories and you're like, are they telling stories like this anymore? But I think one of the things that we fail to understand is how good of a storyteller our parents were. And all these people in the community who pass that information down because they're so into it that you can't tell them that they're making these things up, They
told it as it actually happened to them, and you, the child, you live in that. It's like it's coming alive in your little head. Yes, you love to hear it, but you're thinking, wait, that's not where I passed just now there.
Yes.
I don't think I passed in there, but you didn't say the part where if you, by chance, you see a spirit or you're going through the bush and you hear anything, you have to curse bad word. Listen to me, and you can't curse bad word for your parents here, they're telling you bad word chase spirit, but don't you dare make a mistake. So when you are alone, boy, you want to hear bad word, leave this liquor mouth.
Oh, wow.
And you actually, because they say when you curse, you could hear Laja Bless jumping over the cliff and going down in the straw.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Keisha Christie, and I am from Canada. A little bit about myself. Both of my parents are Jamaican, and we now live in Canada extendedly. We're from everywhere and all over. We mix up just how it goes. I am here in Canada. I'm a storyteller. I have a storytelling podcast called Walk Good. I also host a storytelling event annually for the community to just remind everyone the importance of the oral tradition and to keep it going. And I'm happy to be here with you guys this evening. My first encounter with folklore would be listening to Miss Lou tell an Anansi story. Being my younger self, she was bigger than life, and the language. I was always told, don't use patois, don't speak like that. And then to hear Miss Lou just breaking out patois, my eyes were big, my ears were cocked, and I just wanted to hear and absorb everything. And since then, can't shut up. I just keep going.
And your favorite folklore? Is it the Duppies or is it the Hartman or Anansi?
I love Anansi stories. Just the unsuspecting and the trickster behavior. I love it because you can get away with a whole lot. And oops, Anansi made it so. Long ago, there was a lady and her daughter that lived up on a hill. And then I tell you, the house was big and firm, and whenever they stepped out, they were dressed. And they wouldn't talk to anybody. The mother would say that nobody would know the name of her daughter because it was such a sophisticated name. Well, people like that, you have to tell them, sir, put your money where your mouth is. So she did. She said, anybody who can tell me the name of my daughter, I will give them a $100. Well, many tried, many failed. But there's one person who will never leave money on the table, and that was Anansi. When Anansi heard about this lady and her daughter, he decided that he was definitely going to find out this girl's name, but he needed help. So he went and he called his friend Mosquito. Anansi and Mosquito had a falling out a little while ago about a yam, but by this time they had made up. Here Anansi now. He said, Mosquito, in the night, we're going to find out the name. You go and do your thing with the daughter, and I will listen for the name. Well, Mosquito really didn't understand the plan too well, but it will go or it won't. As soon as night came down, Mosquito flew into the little girl room and he did his thing. Zing, zing, zing. And the little girl kept, oh, oh, oh. So much so that her mother started screaming out in the room. So Grady, what's the problem in there? Oh, it's nothing, mommy. It's just a mosquito. Well, Anansi heard the whole thing, jumped out the window and went home. Well, nobody heard from Mosquito till the next day. Anansi put on his clothes. He looked sharp that day. And while everybody was out and about getting their chores done, Anansi was walking and singing through the streets. When he reached the hill with the big house, he pushed open the gate and Anansi started to sing. It's long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. It's long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. And him go all the way to the top of the hill and reach the front door. Now the woman opened the door. I wonder who this could be singing out in her front yard. And here Anansi, extending his hand, looked at the young girl and said, So Greedy, make me hold your hand, girl. Make me hold your hand. Well, the mother was shocked because this name was such a sophisticated name. Nobody could guess this name. But clearly, Anansi did. So she had to give him $100. You see, when the money touched Anansi's hand, things changed. Anansi suddenly didn't remember all the work that Mosquito did to help him get the money. He put it in his pocket and home, straight home, no stop. Later on that day, Mosquito came to collect his winnings. When him reached, Anansi had a story to tell. Anansi told Mosquito, oh no, it wasn't a good time. It's late and he would have to get change. Mosquito said, all right, he will come back later. Mosquito left and come back. When he came back again, Anansi found another story to tell. Mosquito started to realize that every time he came to collect his little money, Anansi had a story. It was every single time. So now Mosquito started to tell people what Anansi do him. And then when he kept going back, same thing happened. And he started to tell more people. He started to tell and tell until he decided that he would tell every ear that can hear. And from that day to this, all you hear is Mosquito still telling his story. Zing, zing, zing. Is Anansi? Make it so.
I am Steve Russell. I am with Brian Nancy and all his friends. And I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, originally from Jamaica. My first experience with folklore started back in the days in the hills of St. Anne, where there's only one television in the community. And so for entertainment, we'll tell stories. And of course, they'll tell you the ones about the Duppy stories. The Duppy stories normally encounters or entails the rolling calf, which is the cow with the long trains behind them, and oh, you should be afraid of rolling calves and stuff like that. And of course, they make you, want to go to bed. So I guess it's a good way to get kids into bed early, because after you hear those stories, you want nothing more than to go wrap up underneath your sheet. So that was where it all started. And then as time developed, I get exposed to Brian Nancy and his, lack of a better term, is cautionary tales. And so that was my first encounter. And I developed a love for it from there on and continue to tell me Anansi's story.
So which one is your favorite? Which one is your favorite? Is it the Duppy stories or Anansi stories?
I say a combination of both. Well, give Brother Nancy the nod. And Nancy stories because they don't tell much duppy stories anymore. Because when you get electricity and that sort of stuff, people don't afraid at night anymore. So, you know. I really do not mean that what I'm about to say is true. It's a story, a story. So let it come and please let it go. Once upon a time, Brother Nancy lived in a village where bad mouthing and backbiting was very bad. Now, Brother Nancy thought about it and says, I got to do something about this. So guess what Brother Nancy did? Brother Nancy went to the fairy gods. He said he's going to the fairy because the fairy can fix this. So Brother Nancy went to the fairy and he said to the fairy, Madam Fairy, I want you to grant me one wish. The fairy looked at Brother Nancy and says, Brother Nancy, you only want one wish? I normally grant 3 wishes. Why you only need one? And Nancy says, no man, one wish is good for me. So the fairy said to Brother Nancy, Brother Nancy, what is that one wish you'd like for me to grant thee? Brother Nancy says, I want you to grant me one wish, that if anybody said anything bad about another, they'll fall down, boof, and dead. So the fairy says, well, Brother Nancy, if that's the wish you want, I'll give you that one wish. Your wish is granted. As soon as Brother Nancy get the wish, Brother Nancy decided that, you know what? I must make some fortune of this misfortune. I'm going to eat a food off of this. And you know Jamaicans, them like to eat food off anything they get. So Brother Nancy get himself an axe, a hoe, a machete, and he set up himself at a big, broad, flat rock near the part of the road where everybody must pass by. I know Keisha know about Flat Bridge. Somewhere like Flat Bridge, him go and him set up. Brother Nancy begin to knock. Pong, pong, pong. Brother Pig was the first one to come by. Brother Pig said, good morning, Brother Nancy. Brother Nancy said, good morning, Brother Pig. Brother Pig said, what you doing over there, Nancy? And Nancy said, you know, here, the governor passed law that say a famine is coming on the land and everybody must farm. So I'm just trying to see what I can do. Now, Brother Pig went on his way. But as Brother Pig went on his way, Brother Pig said, wanna see me dying, child? Good people farm and good soil. Brother Nancy farming on rocky ground. Guess what? Before Brother Pig could finish saying those words, Brother Pig fall down, boof, and Nancy run over, pick him up and put him in his bag and say, that's not the way Uno should talk about a man. Now, the next day, Brother Cow came by. Brother Cow said, moo. Brother Nancy said, morning, Brother Cow. Brother Cow said, what you doing over there, Nancy? And Nancy said, you know, here, the governor passed law that say famine is coming on the land and everybody must farm. I'm just trying to see what I can do. Now, Brother Cow did the same thing. He went anyway and he said, Kuya, and Nancy farming on rocky ground, people should farm on good soil. As Brother Cow said that, Brother Nancy fall down, poof, and Nancy run over, pick him up, put him in his bag and say, Sasha, he said, that's not the way Uno should talk about a man. Him take Brother Cow home and him have a feast. Now, Brother Goat and Brother Horse came by and them two got the same fate. Now, the word got out and nobody passed by for a few days. So Brother Nancy is still there knocking, pong, pong, pong. Nothing happened. Soon, Brother Duck came by. And Brother Duck said, good morning, Brother Nancy. Brother Nancy said, good morning, Brother Duck. It's days now, you don't get a meal, you know. Oh. So Brother Duck said, Brother Nancy said to Brother Duck, by the way, Brother Duck didn't say nothing to Nancy. So Nancy said, what news going on in your neck of the woods? Here, Brother Duck, you know, it's interesting that you'd ask something like that, Brother Nancy. Because last night, I had a dream. You know, Caribbean people love a dream when they go in bed. Him say, I had a dream that I've been on this land too long and I haven't married. So I'm going down to Orchard to see if I can find me a sweet sugar plum to get married to. As Brother Duck went on in there, yeah, Brother Nancy, Kulang mouth Brother Duck talking about him. I go try to find somebody to marry to. And me can't find nobody. Kuya. Before Brother Nancy could finish say that, guess what happened? And Nancy fall down, poof. Brother Duck run back, pick him up, put him in a bag, and say, that's not the way one should talk about a man. I know me Mickey, and Nancy Mickey. So Jack Mandora, hey, me no choose none. Yeah.
I've never seen a Lugaru in real life. Although the community in which I live, which I lived years before, and the community in which I work, people have testified and they are quite, if I should use the word adamant, that they have seen Lugaru already. In fact, I have grown up and there are many in the community who people have pointed them out. You see him, he's a Lugaru. You know, poor man. We always get the wrong end of the stick.
Oh, I have a story about that.
My mother, anytime I want to tease her, I would tell her he doesn't have anything called Lugaru. And she swears that one night, walking up, I think it's that the road from Karut up to Ladig, she saw a Lugaru taking its descent in the down behind Battle Hill, somewhere in that area, going down there, in the back of Battle Hill, going down there, you know? Yeah, so she swears to this day that there is Lugaru. She has seen them already, and it manifested itself as a big blaze of fire.
And it's not nobody hunting.
No, she says she saw it flying, you know.
Was it flying? Okay. And people didn't used to bust bamboo up that area and throw in bottles of torch and those kind of things.
Yeah, you know, she said in those days there wasn't electricity in those days, so it was, you couldn't miss it.
Okay.
It was clearly a phenomenon. Well, of course, this is my word now. So based on what she described, it's clearly a phenomenon that was not normal and not natural. You know, I guess, you know, sometimes too, we tend to dismiss some of the things our parents say, but up to today, you would hear, especially in the United States, people, and in fact, there are millions are spent trying to explain what people see when they see unidentified flying objects. You know, so we would dismiss our people as talking stupidness.
Yes.
But in the United States, and they spend millions to actually investigate when people say they see things that are unnatural and unexplainable.
Malembe. My name is Sharon Martini, artistic diva. Yaya Shasha, aka Yenenda. I am here at the Mud Palace Gallery, Africa Village in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. Came home to my roots, I did. And here I am sitting in the Mud Palace. My first introduction to storytelling, well, really, probably my parents, but beyond that and after that, I would always keep my sister awake with stories about a little boy named Nabil who would ride on the cat's ear. So I think that I was born a griot, a Jalé, which is the name, West African name for the storyteller. And yeah, that was really, I was actually quite shy sometimes, but let me loose with a story and I would have everyone enraptured.
She said the girl went some way, and she said she went in the woods or something like that. And if they sent the brother to look for the girl, And when the brother was going through, as he get on where the girl was buried, the song came, do, brother, do, don't mash my head so hard. For the sake of the grain, I right fig, mommy, bury me alive. And when he heard the song, he went back home and told his father, look at what he heard. The father came with him, and as the father came, do, daddy, do, don't mash my head so hard. For the sake of a grain, I right fig, mommy, bury me alive. And she was dead. She wasn't dead. He took care of her, make her better, and then he went home and he chased the woman. So the family was back together again, the father, the brother, and the girl. So that was my favorite story. And mind you, when you have to tell it and you don't remember anything, you add it.
Yep, that's
and it brought out the creativity in children. Because if you could tell a story after your parents, you were good. You may not remember everything they say, but you add in, the person listening don't know that you added something. They know they get a nice story. And that's how it went on. In my family, it was passed on. It was a tradition. So singing, dancing, and storytelling, it was a rich tradition passed on. We don't do it anymore because all the elder people have passed. And life is too busy now.
But Lynette, that's what makes this story rich.
Thank you.
Is the fact that everybody who tells them had their own touch to it. And that's how they become engrossed into the story. So you cannot tell me that that's not the way the story went, because I'm in it. And if I have you captivated, I am going to add whatever, because one of the things that I think they were doing, they were reading the audience. So they're looking at you and you're in there. No, we can't let you go now because we're going to finish the story. No, you're probably heading somewhere and letting the story because people are enjoying that story. So I think that's one of the things that I don't know, what happened on that side of the Caribbean. I don't know if it's happening in Jamaica. Keisha probably can add in a little bit more, but that's where I think we need to go back to, where we're going into these community and, interacting with our elders, because they have a lot of story. I like the ones that you've been telling. I'd love to if you could exchange them with me, because I'd love to probably use some of them in my performances and other places when I'm out there.
Special congratulations and happy anniversary, happy 1-year anniversary to Caribbean Folklore Storytime. Keep up the good work, keep telling the stories, keep our folklore alive.
I could tell you duppy stories. I've made a few duppies in my day. Yes, we used to get the duppy stories and hear about rolling calf and that type of thing. I even have my own duppy story. One came to visit me, yeah, with a message for my neighbor. And I did tell it. And I actually used to write a newspaper column and I wrote about it in there. But yeah, that would, I mean, I heard about the stories of the stones on the roof and those types of things. And I had my little imaginary friends. Who says that they're not duppies? Really, truly, you know, many children have that, you have that little person that you speak to. Maybe it's a family, maybe it's, but who's to say? And because we as a people, melanated, we're so much more connected to spirit that, and when you're little, when you're young, you're more open to everybody and everything. And so who says a duppy is really what they say it is? A duppy is actually an African word and it means ghost or spirit.
Did you say you marry a duppy or you had a duppy? I didn't hear you too clearly. Did you say you marry a duppy?
Did I married a duppy? I'm sure my ex-husband would not like to hear that, but he was very much alive. No, I have actually had visits from duppy. My neighbor's dead husband actually did come to visit me with a message. Oh. And I'm talking truth here. And I didn't get scared and I did take the message. Huh?
So what did he look
like?
What did he look like?
Well, you know what? He looked exactly like I knew him when he was alive. He had been an old elderly man and sickly, gray hair, very short gray hair. And of course he was thinning because he was not well. But I saw him in my duppy visit. He looked the same, fleshier, and he had a strip of red hair around the back. So it's interesting when I went and told the story finally after like winding myself up, his wife took out photos and showed me he was a red-headed man. I knew him as a gray-haired man. So he looked very much the same. He took me to his house where I'd never been. I mean, I will have to share the story with you. It's written down, but it really was nothing but a duppy. I went on duppy travels.
How did he smell?
You know what? He didn't smell. It was honestly, it was like I was just visiting with another being. He really and truly, because first of all, I actually was having this conversation. It was the first night my sons had slept out with their dad after we'd broken up. And I remember having this sensation of it was a familiar sensation of something, the energy switching. It used to happen when I was little and I would get frozen and afraid and find that I couldn't move or I couldn't scream or I just couldn't do anything. And for a voice, spirit really just said to me, breathe, relax. And I relaxed. And then here I was having a conversation with this man. And then all of a sudden I realized, and I said to him, but wait a minute, you're dead. And he said to me, and I said to him, well, you know, what do you want? Why are you here? And he said to me, well, Sharon, I knew I could get through you. And it's my wife. I have a message for her. And I want you to tell her I'm fine and I'm good. And then he told me a whole bunch of other stuff. He asked about my sons and he told me about him playing music and golf, all sorts of information. And anyway, when I did finally tell the message, which I had to tell because I knew if I didn't tell, the spirits wouldn't let me sleep. So, so I finally went and told, and I was terrified. I was terrified because I thought his wife was very, very Catholic and very droll, really, very, sort of straight. I was terrified. I had imagined all sorts of things.
England or
but
Jamaica?
she welcomed me. She took my hands and led me into her house and said, "What did he say? What did he say? You know, what happened?" And I relayed everything, and she had corroborating evidence that proved that I wasn't making it up. I wasn't like some witch playing silly buggers, and it was just, actually, it was a really amazing experience. But after being absolutely terrified. And then in the end, I realized that, Spirit's not going to give you, it was a test in a sense, I feel. And I also know now that Spirit's not going to give you something to do that you cannot do if you choose to go forward and do it. That's my personal feeling there. But so
did he tell you?
Yeah, it was really a wild.
Did he tell you where the money was buried?
No, he didn't. It's interesting because he had been buried probably a couple of weeks before. I never went to the funeral. He had died 44 days prior, and his wife, he was in hospice the last week, and his wife was there the whole time, and he couldn't die. He couldn't go, because she was holding him, because her love and all of those things was so powerful. He couldn't go, and she left to go shower after being there a week. She left to go home and just kind of tidy herself a little and come back. And when she left is when he died. And he said to, she told me that, but he had told me he had to leave. She wasn't there when he died.
Okay.
But in the end, he couldn't die. He couldn't go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it makes sense to me. It probably sounds totally crazy. You'll write me off as a nutcase.
Not love. I am trying to see how we can cash in.
Oh, good Lord, how new business.
Yes.
You got a duppy you need to chat with? Call me up. Midday. It's gonna cost you though. Do you know?
I'm Lisa Levi. I come from Trinidad. My father was from Grenada. My mother was from Dominica. So I'm a complete Caribbean girl, but I'm living in the UK now. One of my earliest memories of folklore, my father told me a story. We were visiting Grenada, and in the village of La Digue, where his family was from, we were walking up a road, and the road went up a hill. It was a narrow road, and further up the hill, there was a bend in the road, and you couldn't see around the corner. And my father told me a story about a woman who had died on that corner, and every time the full moon came, if you were walking up that road at night, you would see the woman on the corner in a white dress waiting for you. And he said, you must never follow her into the bushes. And that's my earliest memory of a folk story. I think it was a combination of Laja Bless and a true story of someone who had died around that area. But that was the story at the time when he was growing up. So that was my first.
I don't know if anybody told me about it. It was a thing that was circulating And it was among the people in Barbados. So I heard what was going on. So, I don't know. Thank God I never encountered him first thing, right? First thing. But I understand he moved at night. And it was better for anybody if they were at home rather outside when he was on the move. He still don't, I don't know. He used to do all sorts of funny things, man. Oh dear.
So the steel donkey was a male or a female?
I have no idea.
No idea it was a male or female. Was it?
Probably was both.
It was.
It was so ubiquitous all over the place. All this steel donkey. Yeah. I know people were getting home early and that sort of thing, you know, and not on any dark nights or anything like that.
So what would the steel donkey do?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm not too sure what he used to do. I know he used to have a lot of people frightened. It's trying to get home and to stay home at night.
But do you believe that the young people today will be scared or stay home because they hear that the steel donkey is out?
If I think they would?
The young people.
Yeah, I know. If I think that they would.
Yes, if it would. If it would scare them. Yes, of today.
Or they wouldn't be.
They wouldn't be scared? Why?
No. I didn't say so. I didn't say they wouldn't be. I believe that if like just one or two of the young people there were moving late at night, I don't mean by crowds, right? One or two moving by themselves, I feel they would be scared.
But Mr. Riley, what is so scary about the steel donkey?
Oh, Lord,
what is so scary about the steel donkey? If you saw a steel donkey, what would you do? If you saw the steel donkey?
One year of storytelling is quite something of a big deal. Yes. Happy anniversary. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, dear storytellers. Happy birthday. Happy anniversary. Congratulations. And well done. Oh, my voice is coming back. Thanks for that rousing. God bless.
Programme ça là qui a fait au Lion Caribbean avec Osoya nous a créé Caribbean Storytime avec nous a regardé qui ça y est en anglais mais moi bien content pour qu'il tellement moun ici qui a fait même bagaille là en tout ces pays a yo ka représenter côté yo ka fait blague avec côté nous ka bay moun bon tché avec ça qu'a fait moi beaucoup plaisir pour moi ça participer au soir avec moun sorti la Grenade, Barbade, Trinidad, Saint-Lucie, tout au Lion Caraïbe, Jamaïque, tout partout avec celle ça ni ensemble c'est pour nous ça vivre derrière pour nous ça aller devant café chez moun fait bien. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's edition of Caribbean Storytime. It's the fourth, and this time we are looking at the tales of duppies, jumbies, and other paranormal beings. And it's the sort of storytelling that we have grown up with. Most of us of our generation would recall talking about jumbies and zombies, Laja Bless, black magic, Chebois, and just today earlier was hearing again about the steel donkey. Then we can talk about voodoo, and we have to remember the Calypsonians and the other artists who have gone deep into our culture to present it in a way that unfortunately people treat it as jokes, in that we treat jokes as only something to cause laughter, which we are told is the best medicine. But laughter can be a medicine only when it assists the person who is being made to laugh. And that is why.
Happy anniversary, Caribbean Freedom Fighters, from your favorite storyteller, Astrid Mitchell. See you soon.
Happy anniversary, Caribbean Folklore Storytime from Ubuntu.